Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Latasha.
I'm going to play a little music and we'll get started. With the music, that is. All right, Lisa.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Midweek. How's everything going for everybody? Monday and Tuesday were good?
Good.
Thank you, Joyce. I love it. So I just have a couple things to go over with you guys today. One is, well, before we get to that, I want to talk about the activity level and overall what everybody has been doing. It's great. I mean, things have picked up. We are definitely seeing more activity. Listings taken is increasing. However, obviously the inventory challenge is still there. So you are going to have to look for things that are not currently on the market. A great example of this would be, we had an agent in the office yesterday, and he was writing up a purchase contract, and I said, awesome, great job. You know, what's the situation with your purchase? And he said, well, I have this buyer and we weren't able to find the property that they were looking for. So he knew of another agent that worked a certain area that might know of something that would be available or off market or know an owner, and talked to that agent. And sure enough, there was an owner that was considering selling, whose property was not on the MLS. And he asked the agent to contact the seller, coordinated a showing, and now they're writing up a contract for an off-market property. And what's the beauty of writing an offer for a property that's not on the market if you're the buyer?
No competition.
Yeah, you're not in a multiple offer situation. It's not on the MLS. Time sensitivity isn't the same. There's room for negotiation. I mean, this is creating your own world of business, right, for you and your client. And how grateful, I mean, what kind of relationship now is he going to have with that buyer moving forward? Is that buyer going to go to another agent next time they want to do something? Probably not, right? Because they, you know, how many buyers can say, my agent found me a property, wasn't even on the market, and it was what I was looking for. So just to encourage you again, if you have buyers, there isn't something on the MLS that interests them right now, you know, look at old expireds, look at, you know, call people in the neighborhood, tell your buyer to drive around and say, hey, where do you want to live? Who should I target? And they may say, well, here's 5 properties we love. Can you contact the seller? Or this is the area we really want to be in. And now you have a farming campaign for that buyer. And it produces results, you guys. So I just encourage you, because I know a lot of you have buyers and don't have the listings to match the buyers, get the listings. That said, activity is picking up. So I know you guys are busier in general, which is wonderful. And we did say that we would trust that some of the stuff that happened over the summer or the late spring would push into fall and winter. And we are seeing some of the results of that. So keep the momentum going, you know, ride that, take advantage of it. Use that to create urgency where that makes sense for your buyers because of the low inventory, and the whole idea that everybody can start coming here again in October. You know, what's a conversation you could be having right now with your buyers that are actually looking right now regarding the island opening up October 15th? What's a good conversation around that, do you think, or that you're having right now? Nance.
I've been sending out daily emails, at least 10 a day, just letting
my past clients and customers know what's going on, and letting them know what restaurants are opening up and what's happening in the futures to get a conversation going. And it's helping. It's really, I'm getting quite a few people responding saying, we're coming as soon as your quarantine is over, and excited to look at property. So it's a good thing just to touch bases with them.
Great. So you're saying, Nancy, that the people who are coming, those are the ones you're connecting with to make sure that you're in conversation, and that, right?
I started with that, but I'm just going through my database just to touch everybody.
Got it. Perfect. So that's wonderful. So seeing where they're at, those kind of continuing those care calls and touching and saying, hey, this is what's happening. We're opening up. Are you planning on coming? So that's a great one. What's another one? If you have buyers that are either on island now or ready to buy right now, what would be a good conversation for them as far as the urgency of moving forward? Is there an urgency for somebody who's looking right now at inventory to move forward prior to October 15th?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that might be a good idea. Go ahead, Joyce.
Doing the kid in the candy store thing, you know, it's like, not to stress them out, but basically they've got 2 weeks before the floodgates open, and then they have competition on a whole nother level that they're not seeing now. So no inventory, more competition. If you at least, you know, I mean, I don't want to push someone in a home they don't want. However, 6 months ago, they thought the prices were going to drop, and now they're not, and there's less and the prices are higher. So it's the reality of the situation.
So that's great, Joyce. I mean, that's a kind of fun email that you could create around that. You know, remember when you were a kid in a candy, like be a kid in a candy store. You've got 2 weeks. Are you looking right now? You know,
and your mark, get set, go.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. And yeah, you're probably not going to force somebody to buy something they don't want. Although, yeah, you want to make sure that they have all the options they need, which is another reason to look for stuff that's off market if nothing fits them. So I love that. Those are really good conversations. Is anybody else doing anything that is working for them as far as reaching out to their database and what they're talking about, or in regard to inventory? Anything else that you guys want to share that's working for you?
I am going to farm certain areas that I know where my buyer really wants to be, and just kind of pound it for the next, 60 to 90 days, and saying I got a qualified buyer, blah, blah, blah. And just, I know exactly where she wants to be. So to me, it's like, instead of waiting around for that house to come up, it's like, let's just hit it.
Awesome. Great, Joyce. I mean, I know Chris, I see you're on. We were talking a little bit about how you started doing the care calls back in March, and now you're really seeing the results of that pipeline filling up from doing that practice consistently. Is there anything you want to say about that? I don't know if you're in a place where you can actually talk, because I can't see you. Can you hear me, Chris Haig? I'll see if he can talk. He may not be able to with where he is right now. But yeah, I was talking to Chris, and he was saying, he's really starting to see the results of, that's what happens. If you start doing that in March, and you do that consistently, and you just keep doing that, and you're going through your whole database repeatedly, you can get results from that, right? Especially when they're ready to come. So Robert says he's emailing clients in command just to let them know about things opening up on the 15th. That's great. So an email is good. I mean, they look to you, again, they're excited to come, a lot of people, so they look to you for that information, and don't make them go other places where they can get sucked into other potential people that are soliciting them as a client. All right.
Lisa?
2 other things. Yes.
Because I've heard various things about the governor opening up the state, but the mayor not necessarily opening up Maui in the same way. I'd like to have clarity if you have clarity.
So that's a great question. I did hear that the mayor was, I don't know if this is true, if anybody heard this. I heard that Victorino was going to have a speech today of some kind. He was going to address us today and talk about whether there were going to be any differences, or perhaps talking about that, or perhaps talking about the inter-island quarantine. I'm not really sure what he's going to say. Michelle usually has some really good insight. I know she's in a CE class this morning, so she's not with us. She kind of keeps her ear to that. Did anybody hear anything else? Oh, Keone's coming in too. Let's ask him. He might know. Marion or Keone, have you guys heard anything in regard to any differences of what Victorino is going to talk about if that happens today?
I have not.
Okay. So yeah, we're not sure. Deanna, I don't know whether that's going to be different for us. I guess we'll have to wait and see what he says today, if he does address us today. As far as I know, though, I can tell you as far as short-term rentals go, because this was a question that I had, and I talked to somebody again yesterday regarding whether people are just doing bookings for short-term rentals at this point, as though it's fine because there's no, the restriction was in regard to not being able to take people when they were coming from the mainland. And I can tell you that people are doing bookings. So I don't know, there's not a lot of clarity around that yet either. Anybody else hear anything? Keone, have you heard anything about Maui specifically, or what Victorino is going to talk about if he's going to talk today?
No, I haven't. And
anxiously anticipating some kind of good news, being the fact that we have only, I think, 16 presumed still, 16 presumed cases, and then, you know, we've had zeros over the last few days. So I'm hoping that it's, let's get back to business news.
Okay, well, we'll see if he says something today. I did also get some kind of insight about the hotels, which also helps us to know where things are going. And, you know, a lot of the hotels are still on track to open. So, right, most of them right now are saying November 1st. Is the date they're opening the resorts. So that's an indicator. I mean, you know, I don't know for sure. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if that was really helpful. That's what we know. Okay, and if anybody hears anything else, let us know. Just stay tuned today to see if Victorino tells us what's going on for Maui, because I heard that that was happening today. Okay, mobile apps. So I talked about this at the team meeting. I'm going to reiterate this pretty much. You're going to hear me like a broken record on this. The importance of sharing your mobile app right now, getting it into the hands of as many of your contacts as possible, because that will be the primary tool that they're going to use to work with you, assuming that they're mobile app friendly tech people, but you know, most people are at this point. So get the mobile app in there, trust that that's the best way for them to stay in contact with you, to search for property, to go through their transaction with you. If you need help in how to share that, Latasha, I mean, there's resources that tell them, I think in Command, it actually takes them through sharing their mobile app, right? Can you tell them where they can go?
So so they actually can join our BYOCC on Thursday, because we're actually going to be talking about not only the apps in terms of how to share them, but we're also putting a pause on BYOCC and talking in general about more of the technology that you need to make sure that in the post-close system that you're capturing, not in post-close, excuse me, but in pre-close, that you are capturing everyone. So we are actually going to be talking about that specifically on Thursday.
Okay, great, thank you. So yeah, bring your BYOCC, which is an acronym for bring your own coffee or tea and talk about Command.
There was also in Mega Camp, two things I think that went over the app, how to, all the different things that you can do with it, and how to get in and how to send it out. And it was really good. I'm going to see it again because there was so much stuff that you can do that I didn't know about.
Oh, cool. And so that was a breakout session in Mega Camp?
Yep.
So people can watch that about how to use your app, how to maximize your app. That's great. And how to share it. And put it, just another thing you can do is I've seen some of you just put it as part of your email signature. is you just say, hey, you know, download my mobile app here. So any correspondence that you send out to clients, you have that link so they can download it, or you do it on a text campaign that you're sending to them, or whenever you get off the phone with somebody, or whenever you're having a conversation, to make sure, oh, well, you know, have you been working with the mobile app? Did I share that with you? No. Okay, great. I'm going to text that to you right now. And then you text it. Obviously, if you text it, it's easier for them to just do it right on their phone, but you can also do it through an email as well. And then somebody posted, okay, Latasha, Marty Miller's 66-day challenge also has videos. We will also help agents to add searches on their website this Thursday for that training class. So cool. All right, share the mobile app. Can't stress that enough.
And something about that app too, you want to make sure that they download it from your site, because they can go to the app store and buy and, you know, download it, but then it's not connected to you, so it's a waste.
Okay, so good point. Yeah, if it's your specific link to your mobile app, it will automatically tie them to you. I think this is how it works now, Latasha, right? Because originally they had to pick the agent, and now there's a link that's personal to you. Correct me if I'm wrong. However, if they go to the app store and do it as a general, then they would have to find you as the agent and identify you and link it to you. Is that still the case?
That's correct. And so there's two ways that you can do that. The easiest and best way, and we can recap that on Thursday, is to show them how to share it via their mobile app, because then they could text it out. So we will reiterate that as well on Thursday, but that's the easiest and best way to do it. So it's branded to that specific agent.
Okay, great. By a show of, yes, Dawn.
Another good thing you can do is go to GoDaddy.com and buy a web domain. Like our KW website is dtmaui.com. So I bought dtmauiapp.com, and I forwarded that to my mobile page, you know, web page that you get from KW. So I can easily tell someone, go to dtmauiapp.com. Or text that
great.
out.
Or send them that link, and then you're sure that they'll download it from that source.
Exactly. So it goes to me, but that's also a lot easier than go to www.kw.com/280808.
Right. When you send them the link.
Yeah. So it's a real easy way to do. And it's like $12 a year. You know, you buy your web page, and actually the first year it might even be like $1 if you get your GoDaddy stuff set up.
That's a great tip. Love that. Thank you, Dawn. And yeah, and then I know, Tony, you're asking a lot about like some of the bugs. So like with all of the technology that continues to evolve, there may be times where they're doing updates to it, or there are certain features that they're making adjustments to based on feedback that the agents are giving them, which is why, you know, it becomes agent centric and personalized to the agent. So there may be some features that at certain times are buggy, and we'll keep working through those. But you know, in general, the fact that they can use it and even the basic ways that they use it are great. And then all the AI stuff is a bonus. Okay, and then Sam wants me to remind everybody, which is great, today is the last day to pay your RAM renewal fees and avoid a fine of $50. So and this happens every year, so we talk about it and we keep reminding you guys, because people are confused sometimes if they pay their RAM dues and they're paying their MLS and they're on an auto pay for their MLS. Sometimes they assume that that auto pay is also applicable to their dues, and I can tell you that it is not. That you actually must pay your dues for the year. Those reset in October, which is today's the end of September. So if you pay by today, and if you're not sure, call RAM, the Realtors Association, and check and see if you paid, or go to your online portal. You can just log in to your RA Maui account, and then you can go to your account and look, and it'll tell you if you owe any money or if you've paid. So make sure you do that.
For that, because I didn't.
I didn't get the list that I didn't pay mine, so I'm guessing that I'm paid, but I'm going to double check today. Anne, you have a question?
No, I didn't know it wasn't auto pay. I'm glad.
Okay, so there you go. It's not. So it's a separate payment that you make, and so go on there and check that out. Make sure you go on there. And Sam is saying she did send emails to people who hadn't paid yet. So if you got an email, please follow up with Ram. And if you didn't, just check in case you missed it. Okay. And then Latasha put the link in for BYOCC if you want to register for that. So you can click there. And then of course, we know that our license renewals are coming up as well. So that's going to be a separate payment you're going to make through your portal, through your PVL, my PVL, Professional and Vocational Licensing Portal, which is connected to DCCA and your license. So if you need help doing that, reach out to your broker, but you're also going to have to pay that licensing renewal by the end of November. So you got 60 more days to do that, and also to complete your continuing education, which if you're not sure that you've completed your continuing education appropriately, you can also log into your online portal and it will tell you and check. Okay. Robert says, I hear of agents creating a short video for their clients on how to use the app using Zoom or Loom. So that's a good idea as well. I love it, you guys. Great. Okay. Two other things that I wanted to share with you that I heard, which were really good ideas in terms of touching your database and your clients. So one was, I think I mentioned this at the team meeting because I had heard about it on Monday, that same day. So those of you who were at the team meeting, you've heard this, which is emailing your sphere regarding forbearance. So, you know, we know there's over 4 million people in forbearance in the country right now. It could be affecting your clients in some way. So, and your database. So you want to send out an email just saying, hey, you know, there are some resources. I wanted to touch base with you if you know somebody who's affected by forbearance or has a forbearance program with their lender, and there's something that I can do to help them, or they need a resource or have real estate related questions. I'm happy to help. Feel free to reach out, and then just be available for them. So that's a touch that you can do. And then we also talked about adding into that same email the rental assistance programs, that especially if they own property on Maui and they have tenants, to be aware of what the rental assistance programs are right now available to them, to their tenants, which affects them as owners, especially if their tenants are paying them rent. So that was one touch idea. The other one Colette gave me yesterday, and she was talking about, she received a package. So normally we go to Austin a lot more for trainings and events, and we haven't been there for a while. And she was going to Austin every month because she is a regional director and meets with Gary Keller every month, and they haven't been doing that. So she always stays at the same hotel. It's the Hotel Van Zant. It's kind of like a modern, anyway, it's a beautiful hotel. Not my style. I'm more the Fairmont style. She's Van Zant. Anyway, she stays there a lot, and they sent her, she received a box in the mail, and it was from them, and it had a beautiful ribbon, and they packaged things like their bath items, you know, soaps and shampoos and little like trinkets, a candle, and it basically said, we miss you and we look forward to seeing you soon, you know, when you can come again. And I thought, first of all, it was great. And, you know, again, when she goes to Austin, is she going to stay anywhere else? Probably not. And it works for you guys too. So imagine with half of our business being off island and all of your clients that are there, whether they own property, they bought property with you here, they're looking to buy, whoever's in your sphere, imagine if you sent them a little bit of Maui, you know, a little package, something that you can duplicate, or pick the group in your sphere that you want to do that with. How wonderful that would be, until we can see you again, or looking forward to seeing you this winter, or something like that. So that was another really great idea that I loved. Robert is saying, be aware of a scam taking place around this, beach in a box. So you're saying that people offer a beach in a box for sale, but it's a scam? Okay.
No, sorry. I had a client who contacted me the other day, and she was working on forbearance, And it came to her attention after working with this person for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, that at the very end, they were saying something about they were so behind in this that you needed to go and get a cash card and send them cash card in the mail. And it was like, oh my gosh. So
yeah, so that's a good point, is for them to be aware that people may be reaching out to them with forbearance assistance. If it's not their lender, they need to be wary, because this happened in the last market cycle too, where a lot of people were offering services to help people with modifications, for example, and they were charging them a fee, and then they weren't really helping them with modification. So third parties that are going to offer to do that, good point, Robert, stay away from, and for the most part, or have them talk to an attorney, and an attorney can research for them. But really, they should be working with their lender directly. So,
and the beach in a box was more of on your following.
Oh, an idea. Okay, those are two separate things. Yeah, send them a beach in a box. Cute idea. Any other thoughts or ideas you guys have? Okay, any other questions? Anything else you guys want to share for today?
I have two things.
Yes.
First, asking everybody for their support. I'm doing Paddle for Life. We're only going around Molokini, but it's for Cancer Society, and all the funds stay here. And we're really looking for some donations, because we used to do Lanai, and they gave us a lot of time to raise money and everything like that. And so now we don't have much time. We're doing the race at the end of next week, not a race, voyage. It's going to be virtual. So I would appreciate your support, and I'm going to send a link, so that I know you guys are good at helping the community. So I'm going to send a link, and so that you can help out.
Thanks, Ann. Yeah, put that in the chat box.
The other thing is, I know Monday, I think we talked about the COVID form for
yes,
set aside, so if we are having open house,
yep.
What form do we use?
So for clarity, yeah, thank you for asking that. So there are 2 HAR forms regarding COVID in your Zip Form account. One is to be submitted with the purchase contract that specifically relates to the transaction and the offer. The other, however, is the form that we substituted. We used to have our own company form.
Right.
Now we are directing people to use the HAR form, which is the one you can use for open houses. It's the other one. It's not the one that there's 2. I don't have the title in front of me, but it's, if anybody knows what it is, you can share.
It's also in the internet.
It's also in the internet? Okay. So Sam's saying it's also in the internet. Who's in this like Italian garden?
Beautiful.
I love it.
You know
So
what I'm
thank you
seeing
for
people, excuse me, what people are doing is that they're just printing out, especially if you have a vacant and a lockbox off, you can have your seller sign it. And then when somebody comes to show, they just fill it out and sign. So there's a stack like on the counter. It's much more user-friendly for, you know, if it's a license, if it's a contractor, somebody coming in, home inspector, whatever, it's just more simple form.
So have some at the property, especially if there's a lockbox situation.
Have some in your car.
Yep, right. Good idea.
Your mask and everything else.
That is the HAR one, correct?
Yeah, the HAR one, correct.
I do have a question on a completely different subject. I've been hearing some arguments about, and I'm just putting this out there to get your feedback, that it's a conflict of interest for an agent to, a buyer's agent to work for the commission on a sale rather than being put on retainer and being paid hourly. I'm just putting that out there to hear the responses, because I don't agree with that.
So I'm sorry, you're saying that the buyer's agent would not get paid the commission on the sale?
I guess that's kind of a new trend that's starting to happen on the mainland, that the buyer's agent works. It might be a Zillow thing. Works.
Yeah,
like
you may be talking about employees, or so there are some real estate companies, which happened in, I think the trend was like in the 80s or early 90s. Maybe those of you who were licensed at that time know. I actually wasn't. But I recall there was a trend at some point where people were doing a lot of employees. They were hiring agents as employees and then really went the independent contractor route. However, some companies still retain agents as employees. That's never changed. I mean, if you go to the mainland, there are companies, commercial brokerages are very commonly hiring employees, for example. So yeah, there are some companies that are like, you know, that is, Redfin has talked about doing that. I think they are doing that right now on the mainland. Zillow, that has definitely been a point of conversation. So there is a little bit of a trend, it seems, in the residential industry to do that, or to pay them a fee to what we like to call being a door opener. So another challenge that we've seen is a trend towards paying an agent's a fee, where you're working with maybe an online platform there where they don't have boots on the ground, and they may call you and say, hey, we want to partner with you and pay you $150 to open this door to show this buyer this property. But by the way, they're going to be buying through our, you know, iBuyer program online. So I don't know if that answers your question. Yes, there's a trend. It's definitely not something within the typical brokerage structure that you're going to see right now. I think that a lot of people are don't want that. I mean, if you think about the reason a lot of people become an agent and get their license is to be an independent contractor, to own their own business, have their own hours, have no cap on what they can earn in commissions. So yeah, I mean, if Hawaii had their way, Hawaii's a very employee friendly state, though. They don't.
If the commission is being paid by the seller, why would a buyer want to put money out to pay somebody hourly, thus not having any incentive in completing the deal?
The buyer would typically. It would be the company. So the company would be paying the agent, and the agent would be earning money being the agent on whatever side. The buyer wouldn't pay unless, I mean, the only time the buyers typically would pay is if the property is not on the MLS and there isn't a co-op being offered to the buyer's agent, or if it's less, you know, in your buyer rep agreement, you actually put that the buyer or the buyer goes and buys something where there's no commission being paid, then you might charge the buyer, which is in your buyer's agreement. But that would be based on commission as well.
Right, because if the commission is going to be paid, it's going to go all to the selling agent anyway. So why pay somebody to work hourly?
Marianne, you want to address that?
Yeah, there's a little bit of lawsuits going on that are attempting to say that it is a restraint of trade for the listing agent to negotiate the buyer's commission, and therefore the attempt is to get out of paying buyer's commissions, so that listing agents can just say, you make your own deal. I'm listing the property. You go make your own deal with your buyer. And NAR is vehemently opposing that. That has happened before. As Lisa was saying, back in the 80s, there were attempts to change the structure of our commissions, and it failed. And the reason it failed is because don't fix what's not broken, right? This is a system that is working really well across the whole country. Don't fix it. So they are quite confident this is not going to prevail, but that's the attempt.
Okay, thank you for that, Marion. That's good to know. The other thing that I would say is keep in mind, it is up to the listing brokerage what they want to do. They have the discretion to do whatever they want to do. They don't have to pay a commission to a buyer's agent. They really can do whatever they want. Even putting it in the MLS isn't an agreement for compensation. It's cooperation, but it's not compensation. Now we choose to offer part of the compensation to the agent that brings the buyer. That tends to be our common business practice and courtesy, but you know, any brokerage can decide what they want to do, just so you realize that as well, in terms of whether they want to offer a buyer's commission or not. It behooves, the question is always becomes what's in the best interest of the client, right? So, and that's what you're guided on. They would deduce that what's in the best interest of the client is to offer a commission to a buyer's agent, because then they're likely to get more buyers, right? And sell the property for their seller, if that makes sense. So anyway, interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. I wasn't aware that it was a hot topic with NAR at the moment, so that's why we have Marion. And, you know, I guess we'll let you know if it evolves or we see anything happening here where it affects our local market or even in other markets, because we do usually get that information if it gets beyond where it is right now. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, anything else? Have an amazing day. It's 9:05. I'm going to let you guys go and have a great rest of the week. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Okay, bye, guys. Thank you.